DKIM is short for Domain Keys Identified Mail. It's used to prevent spammers from impersonating a legitimate user by changing, the from section of an email after sending it out, or even potentially modifying an email that the user sent before it arrives at the primary, the person they were sending it to. This is done by signing the contents of the email, including the subject line, the to, from, date and time, with the email server's encryption key. The only way you could possibly falsify this is by having access to the user's account or to the email server's cryptographic key. Having access to the account, you can only sign messages. You can only falsify messages from now. You couldn't. Most servers aren't going to allow you to backdate emails. Having access to the server itself is an absolute disaster, essentially. Now, this issue has come up several times in the past several years, with the first really notable instance that I remember being when the Podesta emails were leaked. There were numerous attempts on the part of Donna Brazile to deny the authenticity of one email in particular, being that her providing a debate question to the Clinton campaign. This is that email. And she essentially tried to argue that this was doctored. Then, more recently though, we have an instance of one of the survivors of the Parkland shooting alleging that CNN pushed him to ask a scripted question rather than his own. After several days of making this claim, both the boy's father and CNN released the email exchange they had, with CNN's version and the boy's father's version having one very noticeable difference. This being, in this particular line, CNN has the inclusion of the phrase that he submitted. Now, at the time, it wasn't entirely clear as to who modified that. And in the time since, the boy's father has said this was removed by him. It was done accidentally, he says. I don't know why he would remove that, or what would cause you to accidentally remove 3 words in the middle of the email, but that's not what we're here to discuss. We're not going to pass judgment on the man right here. So what I want to do is I want to quickly demonstrate how you can authenticate an email as absolutely unfalsifiably true. This is the email that was sent by you. This is what the email I received is. Yeah. First and foremost, you want to have Mozilla Thunderbird installed on your computer. After installing that, go to Google and just search for Thunderbird add-ons. That's going to bring you to this website. On here, you just search for DKIM. You're going to have these 3 results: DKIM Verifier, MailHops, ThunderSec. I actually have used both DKIM Verifier and ThunderSec. I decided to install them both, and I actually like each one. To install them, all you have to do is right-click and say Save Link As, and it's going to ask you where to save it. Save it on there, and after saving both of those to your hard drive, you want to open up Thunderbird, and in the menu, go to Tools, Add-ons. On these tabs, go to the puzzle piece, and as you see, I've already installed them, but you click on this gear, say Install Add-ons from File, and then you select the files and you install them. From there, Thunderbird will require you to restart, but once you do, I'm going to show you how to get the emails. So I sent myself an email from a Proton Mail account. Now I know with absolute certainty this is the email I received, this is the email that was sent to me. Nobody modified it. It came exactly when the email says. All of that. So, how do I get that into Thunderbird so I can verify it? Or we can actually use Gmail to verify it as well. You select Show Original. And that brings you here. This has all of this information here. Most importantly, it has the DKIM. Gmail actually verifies it as well. And 99% of the time, just seeing this is more than good enough. Excuse me. We're going to download the original and just ask email. Now, from here, we go back into Thunderbird. We open the message, and we're going to open that. And as you see, it is verified. The signature is showing up as valid. Now, I have here another email. It's actually the same email, I just saved it under a different file name and opened it in Notepad. Now, I want to show you how small a change is required to make that not validate any longer. So, in here we have, there is what I'm looking for. We're just going to make it have sent just a second later. Okay, we open that. And now it no longer validates. The signature is wrong because it believes, it shows it was sent later than it was. So we change that back and it will validate again. But more importantly, in the case of, it was accidentally removed, one of the more common things that could happen would be, what if I selected all this but managed to not grab one of those hyphens? That's also that's the most common way you're going to accidentally select something and fail to include it, and it's going to cause this to fail the DKIM check. So in that case, a DKIM check failing isn't proof that the email was modified, but it is, the DKIM succeeding is definitely proof that it was not modified. And that's what we were able to do with the email from Donna Brazil. And in the case of the Parkland shooting survivor, the father did eventually admit that he unintentionally did that, but had he not, there was not much proof as to who changed it. So if you were to find yourself in a similar situation and you had not unintentionally modified it, unintentionally in air quotes, all you would have to do would be to ensure that you got all of that information. Now, not all email servers have that level of authentication, have a DKIM signature for it to verify. To go back in here to the WikiLeaks, this particular email that Donna Brazil said was doctored, does not have the DKIM signature attached. So how do we know it's actually authentic? Well, in this case, there is actually this later email that was a response, which includes the entire contents, that does have a DKIM signature attached because it was sent from someone with the Clinton campaign. It's not quite as strong evidence, but it's pretty good in this case. So Again, just because it doesn't have that signature doesn't mean it's modified or failed, but you have to check multiple sources to try to verify everything. And I think this is something that's really important to know how to do, because in the event that a media, a news story hinges on a single email, if no attempt was made to authenticate it using something like this or this kind of method, then there's really no evidence that it was true. Either way. So I think it's real important that if you see a news story that hinges on that, push for the release of the full raw file so it can be verified. If you have a story that you need to share, do the same. Release the full file. That way there's no question that you are the honest one. Anybody who tries to say you are lying, if you do that, is wrong. They are either willfully ignorant or intentionally being deceptive. So hopefully this little tool helps. If there are any questions, just say something in the comments. I'll do what I can.